Good morning, Miss. We are going to focus on the first article. Mass tourism is at a tipping point, but we are all part of the problem. The name of our group members are Jason Franz, myself, Petronella Austin, and Priya Autar. Jason Franz will take you through the strength and weakness of the article. Myself will take you through the summary of the article, and Ms. Priya Autar will take you through the introduction and the recommendation of the article. Now we take you over to Ms. Priya.
In the article, mass tourism is at its tipping point, but we're all part of the problem. Martin Kettle explores the growing crisis of over-tourism affecting people and places worldwide. This article states how mass tourism was once viewed as a symbol of global prosperity and cultural exchange, but is increasingly becoming a burden to destinations in Europe and elsewhere. Kettle hopes that awareness will be raised on how tourism is unsustainable and that governments, along with their citizens, have to take responsibility in dealing with the matter. In his 2017 article, Martin Kettle explores global mass tourism, overcrowding, and booked out accommodation not available to locals. Overall, Kettles offer a compelling and thought-provoking argument that challenges his readers to think about their own role in the problem. The balanced, reflective tone and concrete example used to make this a persuasive and timely article. I'll hand you over to Ms. Petronella.
Now I will be taking you through the summary of the article. Now, Martin Kettle criticized the article by the overwhelming effect of mass tourism on well-known locations. Kettle argued that it limits local resources, disrupt communities, and harm the environment. Kettle urges a change to a more sustainable, mindful travel in order to prevent economic and cultural harm. In the article, he also called for a both personal accountability or responsibility and government action through tourism. Now I'll take you over to Sir Franz.
Good. So I will be looking at the strengths and weaknesses of the article and I will be critiquing them. So the strengths of the article is one, emphasize the sheer responsibility in addressing the negative impacts of tourism. Two, citing stickers countries with tourism policies provided examples of how the issues can be addressed. The weaknesses of the articles are overcrowded venues, booked out accommodations, not available to locals, increased prices for goods and services, protest tensions and frustration over the state of local communities. So the 3 points that we'll be critiquing is one, the strength, emphasizing the sheer responsibility in addressing the negative impacts of tourism. The weakness would be overcrowded venues and booked out accommodations. For the first critique, Martin Kettle showcases how heavy traffic affects popular tourism destinations, including Venice, Barcelona, and the Isles of Skye. Venice's annual flood of 28 million tourists into a city with only 55,000 people highlights the unsustainable imbalance. The idea that cruise ships are looming the Asian city effectively demonstrates how tourism can overtake historic places both culturally and physically. Although the article effectively illustrates the negative impact of tourism, it falls short in offering possible answers or assessing strategy models from other areas and also taking into account our responsibilities are not evenly distributed when travel internationally. The article does a good job of pointing out that overcrowding is a serious and growing result of mass tourism. It provides striking instances to highlight the differences between visitors and locals, such as Venice. In addition to overtaxing local infrastructure, this weakens the city's historical and cultural character. Though the article does a good job of pointing out the signs of overcrowding, it does not provide tourist models or well-organized policies. Little research has been done on how other locations have addressed these problems through travel restrictions. And for the last critique, Kettle touches on a crucial consequence of mass tourism, the booked out accommodations. Due to tourism-operated accommodation shortages, the article notably referenced the impact of short-term rental platforms like Airbnb, which has contributed to a rise in housing costs and a reduced supply of available homes for residents in cities like Barcelona and San Sebastian. Nonetheless, the article does not examine how long-term housing instability and the decline of community life are caused by commercial pressures to rent to tourists rather than locals. Now I will hand you over to my colleague, Ms. Priya. She will go through the recommendations of the article.
Now, in its broader sense, Martin Kettle's article presents a powerful and necessary criticism of the growing mass tourism problem. For example, with instances from Italy, Venice, and Scotland, Kettles make a strong plea for more reasonable travel. Perhaps the article could have been forfeited if it included success stories from global sustainable tourism initiatives, such as those in Bhutan and Costa Rica, along with more voices of authority to bring back his argument. With that being said, Kettle has provided the issue with a lucid and fair sketch that help raise awareness about the alarming potential social, environmental, and economical pitfalls attributable to tourism. The timely and relevant appeal for greater individual responsibility and collective restraint sets the reader onto a path of conscious and responsible traveling. In short, Kettle article is very strong and a proactive piece that deserves some attention in the ongoing discussion with tourism's future. I'll hand you over back to Ms. Petronella.
So this has brought us to the end of our presentation, and here's the reference of the article. Thank you for listening.